Hey everyone! Today I'm going to continue with part 4 of the Shaman Box Oracle deck review and chapter reading, Tools of the Shaman. Hopefully we'll get through it before I run out of space. We'll see. If not, we'll just keep continuing. Okay? So, the Tools of the Shaman. The shaman's bag of tools contains a fantastic array of magical items, some prescribed by the culture and some derived from the shaman's personal vision and from dialogue with the spirit powers. The tools serve to marry the world of form with the world of spirit. On one level, a drum is simply a shape made from wood and animal skin. On another, it is a vehicle for wonderment. The shaman uses the drum because it's intrinsically physical and therefore a link with human physicality. The energy present in magic is known as intent. It is the focus of people's hearts, bodies, minds, and wills as they meet the mind, heart, and will of the spirits. Tools help the shamans to fix their intent on the ceremony. Although it is possible to practice shamanism without physical objects, the combining of matter with spirit gives the ceremony energy. There we go. All right. Medicine power. A shaman's tools are made from natural materials and are therefore parts of beings that have spirits. This adds another dimension to the intent behind the tool. For example, if a shaman works with a particular animal helper, such as the eagle, using parts of an actual eagle bring the spirit of the eagle into the shaman's work. Each material that is used to make a shamanic tool has a special power, known to Native Americans as medicine. This does not mean that the material is necessarily associated with healing, but refers to the material's inner qualities. That is why people are given medicine names that describe instead of label them. The name Sally Smith, for example, is an identity tag. It does not say anything about its owner unless she is both a metal worker, Smith, and a royal person, Sally from Sarah, Hebrew for princess. A name such as Shadow Wolf, on the other hand, could denote someone with the qualities of both wolves and shadows. One should not adopt such a name because it sounds romantic unless the name describes its bearer. It remains as much of a label as Sally Smith is. Everything in the world has a medicine, an inner quality. When you bring this medicine into the things you make, you create a more potent sacred object. Excuse me. Had to rub my eye. Shamanic tools are richly imbued with meaning and symbolism. For example, the eagle is a powerful bird, associated with clear sight, high flying, and spirit. Many regard it as a sacred bird, and because it soars out of the range of human eyes, it is believed to be able to enter the world above. For tens of thousands of years, these medicine qualities have been associated with the eagle, so that when a shaman uses an eagle feather or a piece of eagle bone, it is a conscious connection with the bird's sacred attributes. The shaman's drum. A shaman's drum is a horse on which the shaman rides to the other worlds, carried by its sound. That is how some traditional Siberian shamans describe their drums. The drum is the most commonly found sacred object in shamanic cultures all over the world. Made from raw animal skin stretched across a wooden hoop, the drum's voice thunders out as the shamanic ceremony begins. Most shaman drums are the kind known as frame drums, a skin pulled tightly over a wooden frame. Often the skin covers one side only, but some drums have two skins, one on each side. The drum is made in a sacred way. Often shamans experience a dream or a vision instructing them in the construction of the drum. They may be told which animal skin to choose and which wood. They may even be shown the tree from which the wood must be cut. This is often the tree that is associated with the world tree, so the drum is likely to be made of birch or ash. By using the wood of the world tree, the shaman identifies with it and combines its medicine in the drum. Since the shaman uses the drum to travel both up and down the world tree to the other worlds, the drum's wood assists the journey. The skin of the drum is normally of deer or elk, but sometimes of horse or another animal. The animal's hair or fur is usually removed, but otherwise the skin remains natural. Leather cannot be used because of the chemical changes it undergoes during softening. Drum skin is hard, rawhide. The skin is taken from the animal, cleaned, dehaired, and stretched on the frame. The drum can be plain or highly decorated. The decorations all have medicine meaning to the shaman. For example, the skin may be painted with a map of the three worlds for navigation during the shaman's journey. Sometimes the designs are of animals. In a hunting society, for example, the drum may bear representation of a deer or some other prey, so that the shaman can identify with it and locate it in the spirit world. Single-sided drums are generally held by means of a handle at the back. This is usually in the center of the drum to keep the correct balance. The handle is often rich in symbolism. It is sometimes carved in the shape of a person, usually either the shaman, the spirit of the drum, or the shaman's spirit helper. The handle is frequently cross-shaped, representing the cross of the four directions. Many drums have magical objects hung from the back: bells, small leather bags containing charms, models of animals, and sometimes weapons that the shaman may need on journeys. The drums are also frequently equipped with little pieces of wood or metal that vibrate against the skin when the drum is beaten. This produces a buzzing, rasping sound while the drum is played, like a snare on a snare drum. When a drum is made, it is blessed and awakened. This is a ceremony of dedication to the spirit of the drum. The drum may be rubbed in animal fat, blood, or milk. Beer, vodka, whiskey, or perfume may be poured or spat over it as a blessing. Prayers are said about it, and it is smudged in sweet smoke. After this ceremony, it is no longer an object of wood and skin. It is magical and holds great power. The shaman's rattle. The second most important tool for many shamans is the rattle. In Mongolia and Siberia, shamans often use a drumstick that is also a rattle. During the period of shamanist oppression in the former Soviet Union, when many drums were seized and burned, shamans frequently continued to practice with just the rattling drumstick. The function of rattles is similar to that of drums. Shamans journey with them, call to the spirits with them, and use them for healing. Many rattles are made from the same materials as drums, skin and wood. Thick rawhide is dampened and formed into a small balloon shape, which dries stiff and hard to become the rattle head. The head is filled with stones, and a wood handle is pushed into the opening and attached. Rattles are also made from the dried gourds of plants, and from turtle shells, animal horns, seed pods, metal, and carved wood. The filling of a rattle is a sacred affair. The materials vary, but normally include sacred or special stones. In North America, some tribal nations use the tiny quartz rocks that ants bring out of their nests. These are considered very sacred, and a specific number of them are put into the rattle. This number has a symbolic meaning. The Lakota, for example, have a tradition of 405 spirit helpers, so 405 ant rocks are put into a rattle to celebrate and communicate with these helpers. Rattles may be painted or have charms tied to them. Some are hung with bells or birds' beaks and animal hair. They become a sacred shamanic tool and may be passed on after their owner's death to another shaman, accumulating sacredness and power as they pass through the generations. Shamanic healing. In shamanic cultures, sickness is a spiritual matter. Illness is the result of misalignment between the person and the world, or between the soul and the body, so shamans treat illness from a spiritual perspective. Shamans may use plants containing natural chemicals, or the type also synthesized by drug companies, but it is the spirit of the plant that helps the shaman heal. Some shamans have a deep relationship with one particular plant, which they use to treat many illnesses, even those for which the plant has no physical curative properties. Ceremony and sacred tools are always used to summon the spirit's aid and to develop the intent of both shaman and patient to make the healing work. In the shamanic view, the most frequent reason for illness is soul loss. Many shamanic cultures see the human soul as having a number of parts and believe that certain of these can be lost or removed from the main core of the soul. The loss leaves the owner in a lethargic, depressed state, without vitality, fire, and passion for life. The sufferer may want to sleep a great deal and have little appetite for food or stimuli. The person can become withdrawn and may perceive life as a dream from which it is impossible to awaken. He or she may also feel lightheaded or fuzzy and unable to act decisively. Some shamans think that the soul loss is an epidemic in Western societies. In their view, spiritual starvation, isolation from the natural world, and an institutionalized powerlessness in the face of work and social demands cause many in the Western world to lose parts of their soul in order to survive. The illnesses and the sense of isolation experienced by many in Western society are symptomatic of this, and there is a need to regain the older shamanic ways in order to establish good cultural health. Souls can be lost for a variety of causes. The loss can happen because of a trauma, shock, or accident. It can occur when a loved one dies and the person left behind does not want to carry on alone, or as a result of emotional, physical, or sexual abuse. Chemicals and drugs can expel the soul from the body. So can anesthetics, which some shamans see as a major shortcoming of Western medical practice. The soul, or part of it, simply wishes to flee a situation that it cannot tolerate, so it removes itself to another place. It usually makes its way to the lower world, and it is there that the shaman generally seeks it. Once the soul part is found, the shaman can capture or negotiate with it in order to return it to the body. However, the body may not have enough spiritual power to keep hold of it for long, especially if the loss had been major or long-lasting. In that case, it may be necessary to conduct ceremonial work beforehand to give the patient sufficient spiritual energy for the reconciliation. The other main cause of illness is believed to be the invasion of the victim's energy by another spirit energy, a phenomenon generally known as intrusion. If a person is dispirited due to soul loss, for example, another spirit entity can enter the sufferer's body to fill the void. That is what happens in the case of possession. The invading spirit could be the spirit of an illness. Like all things in the world, sickness has a spirit, and that spirit can intrude upon the body, especially if the patient is already incomplete because of soul loss. In shamanic societies, illnesses are also often seen as resulting from a breakdown in a relationship between the person and the natural world. The sufferer may have hunted in a disrespectful manner or encroached upon sacred land without the correct ceremonial procedures being carried out, for example. The ensuing illness may be ascribed to an intrusion by powerful nature spirits or their theft of the person's soul. In these cases, the shaman acts as an intermediary between the offended spirit and the sick person and tries to reestablish the relationship. Some cultures practice darker forms of shamanism, in which people are said to employ sorceresses to shoot magical energy darts at their enemies. These darts of energy are purported to enter the energy body of the victim, where they cause sickness, disability, and even death. The darts are regarded as a form of intrusion, and the healing shaman deals with them accordingly. The main method of dealing with an intrusion is to remove it. This is often accomplished by a technique known as sucking medicine. Using intent, the shaman sucks the intrusion out of the patient and into his or her own mouth. The intrusion is then spat out to remove it safely from the shaman's own body. This is a dangerous healing technique. Shamans who perform it must have perfect intent in order to rid themselves of all vestiges of the intrusion, or they could acquire the patient's disease. The tools of healing. Shamanic healing is an art in every sense of the word. It employs ritual, ceremony, and medical knowledge, but also creative skills. Creativity is especially evident in the vision and making of the objects used in the diagnosis and treatment of disease. Shamanic cultures throughout the world make healing objects for their shamans to use. In addition to drums and rattles, musical sound makers include whistles, juice harps, bells, and even fiddles. Other healing tools are painted and body art, masks, costumes, dolls, charms, and magical fetishes, wands, sacred smoking pipes, protection bundles, spirit catchers, carved sucking tubes, and fans made from single feathers or entire bird wings. Constructions such as altars and sacred spaces are the equal of many of modern art installation. The shaman uses the sacred tools in a number of different ways: to assess the nature of the illness, to call out to spirits, to seek a lost soul, to remove an intrusion, to address the lack of balance between the sick person and the world, and to restore the right relationship. The shaman learns to diagnose the energy of a sick person, dowsing with a rattle or a feather, for example, to determine where the body's energy has been intruded. The intrusion is removed with a sucking tube made from a bone, a hooked eagle claw, or a bunch of powerful feathers that the shaman holds like a hand. By means of these tools, the shaman's intent reaches deep into the patient to grab out the illness. I'm going to pause it there, guys, because I just noticed we're almost hitting 16 minutes, and I will continue next round. All right, have a good one.